First question.
First question. Please go through some of the advantages and disadvantages of renting an apartment versus buying a home. This is a good question. I mean, I'm curious, Cory. I mean, I've lived this, but I mean, what are the...
That's what I was gonna say. Well, I mean, you obviously haven't been owning a home as long,
Right.
but
Still new to this.
I would say we can go back and forth on this one since I still live at home. But there are 4 different parts of this question, right? Advantages and disadvantages of renting like an apartment versus buying a home. So you can either obviously own a home, right, like Jordan and his wife do now. You could be renting like they used to 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Or you technically still on the lease, I think, actually.
Right.
But you could be renting, then you could be living at home and paying, some type of rent, something to your parents. Or the best case financially, living at home and no bills.
Hey.
Okay. So what's the advantage of living at home and not having, let's say you don't have any bills? You don't have any bills.
I mean, you got more money, Brad.
No, but seriously though, that's when, again, you have to have your goals. We touched on episode 4, what you should be looking at when you're trying to make a home purchase. Well, we could say, what's the advantage of, renting, disadvantage versus buying a home? If you have debt and you can live at home and you don't have to pay anything financially, I would get out of that debt as fast as possible, because a disadvantage to renting and buying is being in debt. See, what a lot of people don't want to admit is that debt is the same thing as risk. So the more risk you have is the same thing as, the more debt you have, the more risk you have by definition. That doesn't mean you can't handle the risk or the debt, right? Or you shouldn't be in it. But the more debt you have, the more at risk you are from a financial standpoint. So when you first move out on your own or first buy a home, I would recommend, and my first plan of action when I'm coaching people is to get out of all the debt. Okay, so like if you're going to buy a home, what's the disadvantage of buying a home versus renting? Well, you have to pay for all the maintenance.
Yes.
Right? And when you're renting, that's the advantage of that. You don't have to pay, well, you shouldn't. If you're in an apartment, you won't. But if you're renting a home, that could all vary. But if you're in an apartment, when anything breaks, you just call somebody and they come fix it.
Listen,
and you don't pay for it.
I've been in a home for 7 days. Okay.
Stuff is already messing up. Is stuff already breaking?
Stuff is breaking. I didn't change 3 lights. I done switched out 2 door locks. I painted. You know what I mean? These are things that were phone calls when you were in an apartment complex.
Oh
right?
my goodness.
You make a phone call, or you fill out a, now we got apps and stuff, right? So you fill out the ticket and they come fix it. Usually, depending on your apartment complex, the time can vary, but 24 to 72 hours, depending on, how many people got an issue and the size of the complex and the size of maintenance, right? But in the issue itself.
Right.
Yeah, man. I'm not going front. Don't get me wrong.
That's the best part of renting.
Yes.
No, without question.
I was about to say. Now, I'm not trading my home ownership for that.
Yeah, but no maintenance.
Listen, that was nice. I'm talking about anything from a light bulb to your light go
Y'all
out.
didn't even pay for the lights?
No.
Wow.
I call. Listen.
Wow.
I filled out a maintenance request for light bulbs.
For night bulbs. Wow.
And they came and changed them.
That's probably, and honestly, they don't want y'all breaking the light, like the fixtures. So
exactly.
Wow. Look. So that clear cut advantage from a financial standpoint. One disadvantage of renting versus owning, an advantage when you own your home. Not that you just have more space, but just you're gonna feel more, I guess, free is the word. Ownership. You're gonna.
We call it big home energy. This the energy you was talking about.
Okay. Yes. Big home.
Yeah.
Big home energy.
Listen, I got a little more swing on my step every day. I get out of my bed in my house.
Yeah. See,
big home energy.
Remember, life and death is in the. Never mind. What'd you say? My house.
My house.
Oh Lord.
You know what I mean? The thing, the house that I own. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where we at. But yeah, it's a mood changer, y'all. I know it don't sound like it, but it's you will feel different waking up in something that you own, or you're working towards. Technically, we're gonna go into the technical aspect. I don't own it yet.
I was on it now. Yeah, and I was letting you live. It's only been 7 days.
Gotcha. I appreciate you letting me do.
I've said outright ownership, no lien, many of times, so it's all good.
Okay, so y'all are tracking that.
I'm here. You ain't got to worry about that heat.
Cool. I just want y'all to be aware. I'm aware that I know that I technically don't own it, but I'm working towards owning it.
You do not own it outright.
Thank you.
That is the terminology. Only reason I say that is because because then there's an argument about it. So that's why I say outright ownership, and that actually is, if you were to Google it, it actually means specifically for a mortgage, meaning there's no lien. Obviously, it means the same thing if you have a car, right?
Gotcha.
But yeah, outright ownership on a home mean there is no lien on it, and yes, you guys do still have a lien on it. But like I said, 7 days, honeymoon phase still. So
look, we transitioning.
yeah, thankful.
Hey,
hold on, wait. This is what I'm about to get into. So the disadvantage in both scenarios, when I'm talking about having debt, it's just not having your finances in order at all. We sort of touched on this in some earlier episodes. And like I said, we'll re-go through the whole house buying process, and not just the house buying process, but what was done to get here. Disadvantage of renting and buying a home. All that debt, and not just debt, your finances are in shambles, broken apart. You don't even have all the puzzle pieces because you don't even know how much money you make. That's a disadvantage in both situations.
Yeah, I've been trying to put a puzzle together and I got on the pieces.
Hey,
big chunk missing out the middle.
Your head be hurting because you're like, I can't do this. But yeah, I mean, if you're already renting, let's say you're already renting and you're thinking about buying a home, right? From that advantage, disadvantage situation. I mean, I say it every time, broken record. I highly suggest that you consider getting rid of the debt. Now, like I said, the older you are, right, which pretty much means if you're over 30, the more likely you've had too much FOMO and digestion in your brain, that's in your stomach. Anyway, you've seen too many FOMO social media posts, and you're like, I just got to get a house. Man, you got to get out of debt, Because it's different when you move into a house, and what do you have, Jordan? No debt but the mortgage. Hold on, see the net. Whoa. See, people always skip that. See, I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, I mean, they already know you don't have any debt outside of the house. But yeah, that's where you want to be at, because people usually be lying about it. But again, most people are struggling financially. 80% of people are struggling financially, paycheck to paycheck.
That's a high number, y'all.
Shout out to the 20%. Back to the Pareto distribution. And by the way, another disclaimer, I know the Pareto distribution means 80% of the people do 20% of the work, and 20% of people do 80% of the work. But I just say that because numbers always tend to be 80-20. So that's why I just say that, so you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, when you get in the home and all the student, gotta remind the student loan payments, they're not being forgiven. Listen. I'm gonna say that for next episode because we're doing the budget. I already got that noted. But yeah,
shout out to Joe sliding that out of the
he's letting it in real. Thankfully, he let y'all know. Before June, you got 4 months. Real quick, I recommend right now you just start making your student loan payment. Just start making it again. Just put it back into your budget.
Working in today.
Just start working in for June, July, August, September to start making the payment. So when October come around,
you're not in shot.
But like I said, I'll go over that once we get the budget episode next one. I already noted it down. But yeah, when you're renting, you don't realize how much stuff you have to pay for if you've never owned a home. Yes. I think hopefully, obviously, neither of us are in this situation, but you go from renting to owning, then back to renting, then back to owning. Right? And so you get the experience of what it's, to go back and forth in between. There are so many, obviously you don't have to pay for them because it's your house. But as Jordan said, he's only been living here 7 days. He says he's going to replace a whole bunch of crap. You'd be
stuff just pop up. I mean,
right.
It's up to you to determine
whether you're going to fix it or not, prioritizing where it ranks. And even when they're in the situation where they can't, quote unquote, pay for it right away, it's like, I mean, something just broke yesterday. Right? We're going to keep on fixing stuff. So that's really the disadvantage that people truly don't see when they're looking to buy. I'm talking about a primary residence. Don't even get me started on rental property and all the maintenance and talking about the delta, whether or not you're making money or not making money. But people just don't realize how much the maintenance is when they're buying a home. The car is the perfect example because everybody has already gone through this. You're 13, 14. Yeah, I'm gonna have money for gas. I'm money for car insurance. The maintenance on the freaking car is stupid, and it's
crazy.
And it's the same thing on a house, but it's 10x. Pretty much everything on a house. The big issues, $500 hopefully, but it's probably gonna be $1,000 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, your exuberator carburetor to go out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 1, not 2, not 5. Not LeBron. I mean, in a house, $1,000, $2,000 to fix something. Yeah. That's just what it costs. Obviously, relative to where you live at and the size of your house. But the bigger house you got, the more it's gonna cost to fix the stuff.
I mean, again, we haven't had too many major repairs in our 7 days, but I mean, I would say 1K is probably like the base increment now on a house. On a house repair now. It's like you don't got $1,000.
Right.
You in trouble. You know,
Right.
it sounds like it's not getting fixed. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you gotta. That's, and then from there you're scaling up. You know, don't let an HVAC go out. I mean,
3, 4, 5. Again, and then also too, utility. See, it depends, but some of you are renting and you don't pay for water, electricity, gas, whatever is set up for your apartment. Have you ever tried to heat a house? You ever try to cool off a house? Hundreds of dollars. Obviously, depending again where you live in Texas, they can't handle the cold. My bad, that's disrespectful. But electricity bills, depending on how your HVAC is set up, can be $300, $400, $500. And now you're gonna be one of these people. Nah, we don't got the vent's not open down here. Oh my goodness, that's how my brother is. He only has because it's just him and his girlfriend, so they're not obviously in all the rooms in his house. But so just his room and then like the living room. That's the only place the vents are open. Everywhere else you get no heat, no air.
Don't be surprised if fall come around and we walk around in hoodies. Okay,
Right now,
look, we saving what we can.
Yeah, Chris Rock, Chris Rock dad on Everybody Hates Chris. Like, look, Terry Crews. Can we say Terry? No, he got canceled. Anyways, but look, man, don't open the refrigerator. You know what's in there already.
Right.
You open it and the light come on, you run up the electricity bill. Right, you start counting these pennies. And that's probably not people that's not a real comparison of renting versus like buying a home. It is. That's what that's what people don't understand. You've been lied to. You've been lied to so much. That's the issue. You have to have your finances in order. Now, again, some of you aren't in the position where you're fortunate enough to stay at home. So then, you have to go and rent somewhere, or you're paying rent at home and your parents charging you like over $1,000. You might as well just go rent. Most people aren't in that situation, but for those that are, you want to rent the safest place possible from a neighborhood perspective, and then the cheapest place, right? Make sure you're safe. You don't want to come out in your car on bricks, but you want to you want to make sure you're safe and get as cheap place possible. And you might need to get roommates, but you don't need to be out here balling like you got money, and we know you don't. Right. So you don't want to do that. And then same thing again when you buy a home and you have all this debt, you're just such added disadvantage.
Yes.
That's such a disadvantage. And for me, it's just like I can't cut that out. Can't cut out the mortgage payments and you'll be homeless.
Right.
So yeah, you gotta the answer it directly to make sure I do it. The advantage of renting versus owning a home is you usually don't have to pay for the maintenance, and it's not cheaper, but rent usually goes up. But you net wise in the short term usually pay less for renting than you do versus owning a home. So that's obviously a disadvantage for owning a home. The advantage for owning a home versus renting,
so just to play devil's advocate, that it also depends on the size of the home you buy. The rent. So okay, depending on
same area, obviously have to be in the same area, so they're comparable.
Right, same area.
Yeah, you can't just like the house you bought versus where I live at. You can't the rent. My rent's gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna say when I move out, my rent's gonna be significantly more than Jordan's rent for his apartment.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna have less, only one room in here too.
I would say I think the difference overall is from our renting standpoint. If we were to get this, and we can talk. Difference of years of mortgages later, but if you get it on a 30-year, it was.
Yeah, by the way, it's a 30-year comparison for rent, not a 15-year. To be clear, yeah, it's not a 15-year comparison. 15 years more. The comparison for rents and mortgages is if you get a 30-year mortgage, that's going to be relatively the rent in that area.
Right. Yeah. So on a 30-year, we talking about maybe like a $200 difference. It wasn't too bad, what I mean?
Right. So. But that's what I was going to say. The advantage of owning a home is, unlike rent, which is subject to change. As long as you don't get an adjustable rate mortgage.
No arms.
No arms. Do not get adjustable rate mortgage. As long as you get a fixed rate, your mortgage payment, whether you get a 15, 30, 10, whatever, will be the same every month. So that helps stabilize your budget. And again, as the cost of living goes up, you will still have the same payment for your mortgage when it comes to wherever you're living at. So that's the advantage of owning a home versus renting. And obviously, you get the equity right in the property. You can rent it out. You can do whatever you want relative to if you have HOA, homeowner association in the neighborhood you live in. You can do whatever you want to your house. Renting, it all depends on what they say, because you don't have any ownership in it. In your house, you do have ownership. Right. But when you're renting, it's rent, so you don't have any ownership. Some apartments do let you paint, or if you rent a house, they will let you do some changes. But most places, they don't let you do anything.
Right.
So that's the advantage of owning a home. You get that fixed payment as long as you get a fixed rate and not an adjustable rate mortgage and ARM. And then you also are obviously able to build equity in the house, sell the house, rent it out. And now you can be an owner, and now you can be collecting rent from it, right?
Right.
So you get all those benefits of actually having home ownership because now you have an asset that you're investing to every month.
Assets.
Yes,
Woo.
yes, yay for appreciating assets. So that's the advantage and disadvantage comparison. So second question was sort of like the same for the first one. I guess I kind of already did this.
So I was about to say, so second question is kind of a tangent, I guess, off of the first question. And so we've already compared the advantages and disadvantages of buying a home. So keeping that in mind, what are the advantages and disadvantages of a rental property?
Yeah, so if you have a rental property or if you just own a home, well, back to the maintenance. At least you know what's going on in the house. Hopefully, but if you're renting it, security deposit. Yeah, the maintenance it's not even that the maintenance is more because it is what it is, but now you got to have the maintenance people online or for them to call. You're paying to fix that. I mean, if you want, you're real good, you can have some type of deal where you make them fix it, but people probably aren't going to rent your house out if they got to pay for the maintenance in it. But yeah, when you're renting a property, obviously you have to pay for all that extra maintenance. Because again, the one thing with a rental property, you have a house too, or you could be renting. I know some people that rent and then have, they're in an apartment and then they have a home that they own that they're renting out to people.
Right.
But most people have their primary residence and then they also have, 1+ rental properties. Man, that's a lot of money coming out of your budget. And again, as always, back to the debt. Lord have mercy. Your income you got to be well in the 24 and 32% tax bracket if you're going to keep debt and have rental properties. And for single people, that's $150, $160 plus, and for married people, that's essentially $200K plus. If you're not around that, and you got debt, like you got student loan debt, and you got credit card debt, and you got car loans, and you got a primary residence, and you got a rental property, that's what I'm saying. People won't do the budget with me.
He said and way too many times. You got to get rid of some of the.
You have student. I mean, this thing again. I said before, you're married, you have 2 student loans, and you have 2 car loans, and the average person has 4 credit cards. So married, you have 8 credit cards. Or is it 2? It might be 2 and 4 and 4, but whatever, right? But you got car loans, student loans, credit cards. Then you have a mortgage payment, and you got your rental property payment or payments. Now, again, obviously, you're not gonna. Well, hopefully, you're renting the house. If it's $1,000 your mortgage payment, you're gonna obviously rent it out for at least $1,000, right? But at the end of the day, when you have debt on it, that spread on how much you're making, when you're talking about, even though you can write off, things you do, depreciation on the house, et cetera, et cetera. Say you're renting the house out for $1,200, you're making quote unquote $200 net. That's $2,400 a year. Talking about risk tolerance,
right?
but
I mean, that's getting eaten up in maintenance costs alone,
right? And then obviously these are big numbers just to make it simple. But say the HVAC system goes out there, you say the heat goes out, that's $3,000, but you're only going to make $2,400 you have the property, so 3,000 minus 2,400 is 600. So you're at a loss that year for $600.
Right.
Then how long is it going to take you to make that money back? Like the $3,000 for the heat system. Versus you don't have now this is renting a property assuming you have a lien on it, right? You have a mortgage on it. If you don't and you rent it out for $1,200, you're making $1,200 a month. All right, that's $12,000. That's $14,000 a year, $14,400 a year. Okay, and then when obviously you deduct, taxes, if you're have a property manager, the maintenance out of that $3,000, right? That's $11,400. You start deducting things out, then you got some money, left over. So I think the disadvantage of having a rental property is just so many things that you have to pay for, and people don't realize how much money they need to make to be able to cash flow that, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where your rental property jeopardizes your primary residence or your financial house, metaphorically speaking, as I say. And that's the one thing I never want people to get into, but most people are into it. They haven't stabilized their house and their financial house from a metaphorical standpoint. You need to do that first before you go and get another house.
Right. I mean, that makes sense, right?
Right. And then, then there are some people that they already have all the things in place. A lot of people already have a mortgage and they got kids, right? And like, and I got the student loans and I got and like, how do I figure out how to pay it off? Time to get to work,
yes.
Figuratively and literally speaking. But when you just have all that debt, you have to have so much money to cover those payments. And again, debt means risk. So the more debt you have, right, the more of a risk situation you're in. So you're at risk for not only losing your rental property now, if something happens, you lose your job, a pandemic, you're at risk for losing your primary residence,
Yep.
right? Again, now just for COVID, the market's crazy. But if you're in a position where you have to,
Crazy is an understatement.
yeah, crazy is an understatement. But let's say it's a buyer's market, not a seller's market, and you lose your job, and now you have to sell the house, right? But you're upside down on the house, and it's the rental property. Now what do? You take out a 401k loan, or you take out a home equity, a HELOC on your primary residence. That's what people do. Don't do that. That's what people do. Don't take out the 401k loan. Don't take out the HELOC. Now, I should have thought before I said that, because then, like, how do I solve that problem? Shoot, might be bankruptcy. No, it's not gonna be bankruptcy. But yeah, no, you would take the loss, and you would actually take out the debt. You would actually take out let me not get too far ahead of myself. You would take out another loan, the difference. So the house is 300 and the loan is 350, and you're only gonna sell it for 300. So you go get a 50k loan from somewhere. But I would not put the 50k loan in the HELOC on your house, because now you got technically another lien on your home. So just like when I say people take out a HELOC and they pay off their credit card debt, and you think they pay off their credit card debt. No, now, see, the one reason you should never do a HELOC and pay off credit card debt, because now you have taken unsecured debt, which is credit card debt. So unsecured, it's not a lien against anything. They can't, if you default on your credit cards, they can't seize anything as collateral. But when you use a HELOC to pay off your credit card debt, you have now taken that credit card debt and put in a lien against your house. So now you're taking unsecured debt and made it secure. No, just think. And I was making the joke about, you need to have renter's insurance. You got all this debt, right? Credit card debt for your luxury clothes, right? If you getting collections, they don't take your clothes, right? I mean, now I wish they did. Because it would really, people will start acting right about how they're buying this stuff. Right,
but buying Gucci.
Right, but you can buy $10,000 of Gucci, right? Default on that, go in collections. They're not going to come and take any of the Gucci stuff you bought. But then if you take a HELOC and pay off that credit card that was used for $10,000 to get the Gucci, now you got $10,000 in HELOC debt. If you default on that, now they can take your home as collateral. Bass backwards. That's on. People do, now. By the way, I'm not giving an opinion. I have done this for people. That's what I'm saying. I have used people's HELOCs to pay their credit cards, and that's just moving the unsecured debt to secure. Oh no! You don't want to do that. Why do you think they have unsecured debt and secured debt? Like, I mean, if for people in the debt, you want unsecured debt, so you ain't got to worry about nothing getting taken. But yeah, that's one of the disadvantages when comparing that to an apartment. I mean, renting a rental property versus buying a home. Obviously, just like we said, the first question, you're buying a home. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff. Just obviously you have to worry about your residence, but it's 2x or whatever it is, how many properties you have. You have to worry about the tenants that are in there. Are they going to pay? Speaking of the pandemic, people couldn't kick people out, which obviously you should have. At the end of the day, from a business standpoint, look, you were expecting that that income for that month or for that year, whatever the lease was for, and now you can't get it. And if you're in this situation where you cannot cover the rent yourself of the property that you're renting out, I don't know what people. Well, that's it's going to be, the moratorium's coming up, though. It ends June 30th, I believe, for the rent stuff. When the student loans, I can't. Well, I don't want to see people in a bad situation. But when the student loans and the rents, when we get back to pre-COVID financial situation, But yeah, if
get real quick, guys.
Yeah, if you go get a rental property and you can't afford $1,000 payment out of your income, but you're going to use the renters, what they pay you to pay the mortgage payment, and then the pandemic happens. Now Jordan and I have to pay more taxes so you can take out these PPP loans.
We do.
Oh, that's not on for the day. That we're not gonna get to the PPP. I really didn't have anything for them. I just want to talk about it. All these people going to jail.
I was gonna say, shout out to Twitter.
Oh my God.
But there's people on there wilding with the PPP loans. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Payroll. What's going on?
Payroll protection program. People. I guess it's not that big of a deal because I just want to talk about it because it was funny.
Okay.
People just they lied.
They steal it.
Yeah, I didn't read into it because none of my clients, are in this situation. And just like student loans, I don't know how to take out a student loan because I'm not gonna tell nobody how to do it. I know how to pay it off, but I don't know the student loan process as far as getting the loan because I'm never gonna tell you to do that. Same thing with the triple P loan. I wouldn't tell you to do it, but yeah, you had to have like a certain amount of people on payroll, and so obviously, to get in, that they didn't. So, they still got the money, but, once they check it, that's how the fraudulent situation comes up. But, they would get the money, and then obviously, people be posting, like, was it Drewski had that one? Yeah. They're in Atlanta. But, right, people be snitching on themselves. But, yeah, people was scamming the system. As I said, Raphael, the IRS, that's not the one. That's not the one. They better be on your head. They better be on your head.
Coming straight for you.
Straight for you, yeah. So, and that's the one thing, too, double screw. So the IRS is underneath the Treasury, even though I said, you got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But the IRS is under the Treasury, and you got that money, like, from the Treasury/Fed. And the IRS is like, no, big bro, Leonardo, these people have no employees.
They're not good for
it. Get it back. So, it's government fraud. Ooh, I don't even want to know what the jail time is on that. It's probably, it might be a federal, it might be a strike.
It sounds like a felony.
Yeah, it might be a felony. Y'all are wild. And by the way, for how much, what y'all get, 10,000? Never mind. Well,
is it worth it?
That's what I talk about the day trading. People be in the 10 to 12% tax bracket and be day trading. Like, look, never mind. Let me stop. When you have to, as you ascend through the tax brackets, you start looking at this. When I got to pay 25%, I'm good. I'm gonna wait a year for the 15%.
Sounds like a long-term plan.
Yeah. 365 days and I get to save 10% on the taxes, at least. But no, yeah. So just to wrap that back up, when you have a rental property, the advantage obviously is, again, just like when you own a home, you get to make that money, you get to build that equity. Hopefully you do end up paying it off, so that's just cash flowing crazy. You can use that to get another rental property. But again, the disadvantage is you have all that maintenance that comes into play. A pandemic could happen where your renters can't pay you and you can't kick them out due to the government laws that end up coming about. Then on top of that, just not even the maintenance when a renter moves out, if you have carpet, if they have animals, all those type of things, you have to redo all of that, when people move out. Or you end up getting a bad renter, not that they don't pay you, but might get a criminal. Someone might be on a registry. That happened to my man. It actually benefited him because they didn't do they messed up on the background check. But you might end up getting somebody who's on a registry list, not a gift registry, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I can say the word, but he's the other register list. Right, and then it's like, that can, decrease that's public information, so that can, decrease the value of the property. Obviously, if you end up selling that home or renting it out, they're going to see that, right? Sort of like a Carfax, right? They're going to see that this person is just so all those type of things come into play. Versus if you just, buy a home, you only have one real estate property. That's all you, and then you just got that, obviously you have the maintenance regardless, but you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And as I say, most people shouldn't even get into real estate because that's just not for you. Some people are all down for real estate, but it's okay just to have, your primary residence and you make your millions of dollars in another asset class. Right. I know everybody wants to say, I got all these rental properties. No, you're broke.
I think a lot of people just don't also realize the amount of work, like you just explained, associated with that, right? Like people think, real estate is a thing that we should do because everybody's doing it. It's like, might not be for you, bruh. Like it's okay,
Yeah.
Spread that, diversify, right?
We have not. We haven't even gotten to the asset diversification in our team, which I keep slipping on. I said how many times I've been saying like almost a year now. Yeah, you have to bring up the different like what asset diversification truly is. I'll have to put that for the investing prep that I have to go into that.
And that's to eliminate the single point of failure, right?
You said what?
That's also to eliminate the single point of failure, right?
From an asset standpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have multiple streams of income. I call it a tree, but because streams makes more sense, but it's actually a tree. You invest. Here we go. Here goes your 1 minute of investing talk that I didn't say I was going to give.
And
so you go. All right. So you want to invest in actually one thing. So just like a tree, right? You just keep watering the plant or the root. Invest. And the best example is Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, who's doing it right now. Bill Gates just had Microsoft and he put everything into that Microsoft. And then, like a tree, he then diversified or branched out into other asset classes, right? So Bill Gates, I think, used to own 40% of Microsoft. Now he owns 1%. Still the majority shareholder, but now he only owns 1% because he had too much of his portfolio in Microsoft. So, he sells some things off and now he's in a whole bunch of different other things. That's what Jeff Bezos is doing right now. He's liquidating his Amazon stock, which is a whole bunch, and he's buying, he's going to other ventures. But then he's doing 2 for 1, Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. He's Amazon is diversifying in and of itself as a company. Amazon just bought MGM. Why are they getting casinos and hotels now? Right? They're trying to take over the whole world. I mean, I'm not pro breaking people up, but look. Look, like Apple and Microsoft are just trying to dominate the tech game. Amazon said we're coming for the planet. Like,
we want all of it.
Right.
Everything.
If he start, I don't know if they're into space, but if he starts getting into space, look, we might have, look. I'm not saying I'm gonna be pro breaking them up, but because they already got Whole Foods, right? They already knee deep in tech. They already pissed off FedEx, USPS, and UPS, right? It's like I mean,
I'm not mad at it though, because I ain't gonna get my stuff in 2 days.
Right, but did you see that they tweeted you back?
Did they really?
Yeah, Amazon. I don't know if you saw. Amazon tweeted.
On there.
Bro, first off, you didn't even tag them. So Amazon, they are scrubbing Twitter hard.
They're working.
Yeah,
but I did not put any ads in there.
Yeah, they tagged you though. They forwarded you back. Mint did the same thing too for me when I said why isn't Navy Federal working with Mint? I actually work with. They DM me like I sent them some stuff. Yeah, and they said Navy said they're not sending us their info anymore. No, but yeah, back to Amazon. So not only is Jeff selling his shares because his portfolio's weighted too heavily in Amazon.
Look, we rolling on 2 minutes.
Oh no, it's good. I was just saying joking wise.
Gotcha.
Too heavy in Amazon. This is tip of the iceberg.
Gotcha.
Too much in Amazon. Then Amazon is not just technically they're in the consumer discretionary sector. Now I'm going too much into the investing talk, but
what's that, Cory?
Yeah, they deliver stuff, they sell goods and things like that. But obviously they're in the cloud, right? Tech, you got Alexa, all these different type of things. So he's doing 2 for 1, which is just genius. So he's selling it off to go in other ventures for himself, and then the main part of his portfolio is very diversified in of itself. That's why Amazon's over $3,000. But if you can buy a share, well, I'll get nope. I'm gonna get into ETFs later when we get to investing. But yeah, you can get a third of Amazon for less than $100. But here we go, ETFs, funds all day. But yeah, you want to diversify your assets. You're talking about the house standpoint, yeah, because you don't you want to be able to take a hit when the market downturns. But like I said, if the pandemic happened, and how are you going to pay? You can't kick them out, right? And if you can't pay for the rent, now again, the government did come in with programs to help you, right? They helped your renter by saying you couldn't kick them out, and then they helped you because they knew you didn't have the money.
Exactly. They double back.
Right. So the question is, how do we fix that? Y'all lucky I'm not in charge. Both of y'all would have been screwed. Hey, after the top of pandemic, we would have shut down for like 2 months. Yeah, y'all give me the wheel. Jesus take the wheel, Cory take the wheel.